And welcome back to Preparing for the Unexpected. This is hour 4 on day 2. We are broadcasting live from DRJ Fall 2023 in Phoenix at the JW Marriott Hotel. Oh, I said it wrong. JW Marriott Hotel Resort and Spa.
I was going to say, not only do you have to remember the title,
I,
we were educated that it's not Marriott,
yeah,
which I've been saying my entire life. It's Marriott.
yeah,
That's a bridge too far
yeah.
for me. So we're at the top of the hour. We have a new sponsor, brand new to the Preparing for the Unexpected team.
Yes.
So welcome. We're very excited. We love new partners. And this hour is sponsored by Flexential. Flexential empowers the IT journey of the nation's most complex businesses by offering tailored hybrid IT solutions delivered via the Flex Anywhere platform of integrated co-location, cloud connectivity, data protection, managed and professional services. And you're not going to believe this, Alex, but they have 3 million square feet of data center space in 19 locations. So thank you, Flexential, for sponsoring this hour of the broadcast, and welcome to our team.
Yes, welcome, Flexential. Thank you so much. And we are going to jump straight into our first guest. Yes,
our first guest.
Mike Gifford, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Alex.
Thanks for coming, Mike. For our audience, can you why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I have been a risk professional for about 25 years, been in IT probably a lot longer than that. But day job doing both business continuity and DR. And I have the privilege of being the ACP, Association of Continuity Professionals, chairman of the board this year. And it's a role that it's a privilege to serve in that role.
Well, tell us a little bit about that. What is ACP, the Association of Contingency Planners?
Well, we are celebrating our 40th year this year, which I think, under the circumstances, is a pretty big accomplishment. Founded in LA, 1983, by some pioneers, and of course, through the years, with everything that's happened in the world, it's been challenging to, stay alive and continue to be relevant. So our whole mission is to help the practitioner serve their community through professional development and creating opportunities for growth. We do that through a combination of individual memberships as well as our members join local chapters. So yeah, networking is a little overused term, but at the same time, it's about creating the community and supporting each other. And coming out of COVID, like both profit and nonprofit, it's been challenging. And I'm proud to say that we're on the north side of 1,000 members, which is a really big accomplishment for us.
That's great. Now, you mentioned 19, was it chapters?
We have 26 chapters.
26 chapters. Mm-hmm. So where are they located?
They're primarily, you would find them down the West Coast, East Coast. We have 4 in Texas. We're actually looking to establish 6 new ones this year. So I got to give props to Bob Arnold and DRJ and our partnership with them. They are actually helping us identify chapter locations, prospects, both individual members, as well as where is it logical for us to go next. Our footprint is a little empty, basically in the central U.S.
So you're looking to, obviously, fill those gaps. Does that mean there's a need for a group like ACP in those areas?
Absolutely. There really is nothing local that kind of fills this same deal. I mean, in terms of professional development, bringing people together with, like interests, whether it's DR, whether it's BC, whether it's emergency management, it's just a gap. And it's something that we've always have wanted to address. But again, I mean, coming out of COVID, we only had 625 members. And so in that short period of time now, 18 months later, we're now north of 1,000 and we're continuing to grow. So we're pretty happy about that.
Well, that's great.
I'm a member of the Tampa chapter, which is the best chapter. By the way,
of course it is.
You are listening. If you have any questions, Tampa is the best chapter. But it is really powerful to have a local networking group dedicated to our profession is so important. I'm a huge supporter of ACP because when I fell into this position and to this profession, like a lot of us, it was the ACP Tampa chapter who carried me that first couple of months because I'm like, I can't even spell business continuity. I don't know what I'm doing here. And the people in that chapter went out of their way, created a lot of lifelong friendships to support me. So yeah, there's definitely that need. I'm excited to see that ACP is growing into areas of the country that have a need for a local networking group that have been historically underserved.
Yeah. The other thing is it's forced us to be out of the box in terms of thinking. And a couple of things, since you brought up Greater Tampa Bay, they'll be having their second annual one-day conference at the Tampa Bay Airport. Last year was incredible. This year it's on October 20th. A great lineup of speakers, great attendance last year.
Yeah.
And then we had 5 chapters that came together in Rhode Island in May, and they had an incredible, and the whole idea was that you could drive there and then turn around and go home. So we were trying to keep the cost down low.
And that's so important because one of the things we have seen with our guest over the last 2 days, companies are cutting back on training budgets. And DRJ, this is the biggest business continuity conference in the world. It is still expensive, especially if you're new to the industry. If you're new to your career, you probably don't have a $10,000 training budget.
Right.
What I loved about the Tampa chapter, like you said, it's one day. It's designed for people within a couple hours. So no airfare, no hotel, no rental car. It's under $200 and you get a day of training. And I think that's really important, like I said, especially for people new to our profession or early on in their career, because they're not going to have those 5-figure training budgets. They're not flying to BCI World in London.
Right.
They would get laughed out of their bosses off. Hey, can I go to London for a week? No, you cannot. But hey, can I go to something an hour away?
Yeah.
Or regional? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You take a company car, right? You can do that. The other thing, again, I'll give thanks again to Bob Arnold and DRJ that this year they gave ACP 3 conference passes to DRJ, and we gave those away to our new members that had a financial need, and all 3 of them are here in Phoenix, and they're just like walking on water. I mean, they just think it's awesome.
Yeah, Bob Arnold does an incredible job, I think, partnering. He's partnering with us for this broadcast. He partners with ACP. He is always looking to, how can I give back to the profession? How can I grow? And it's interesting working with him compared to maybe some of his competitors where they're very defensive and the doors are closed and we don't want this. And he's always like, hey, how can what's good for the profession is good for DRJ.
Yeah.
And so that's fantastic that you have 3 new members who wouldn't be here otherwise, solely from a financial standpoint. That could be some, career changing training.
Absolutely. I agree with you, James. Absolutely.
So the question, I guess, would kind of go to both of you, but mostly Mike.
Yeah.
If I was joining ACP, what can I expect at a chapter meeting? What actually happens there? I know we're saying training, but what actually happens at these?
Well, typically if like a Greater Tampa Bay, again, they're one of our flagship, I think, chapters, but they create an opportunity again to network for a while. We've talked to a lot of our vendors. Hey, we'll buy lunch for everybody, and then we spend a lot of time thinking about what the program looks like, and it's usually very, very relevant. Most of the chapters now are on a every other month kind of cadence, so they have time to plan for it, and they're exchanging cards. They follow up. They lean on each other for, hey, I need a template for a business continuity plan, that type of thing, and then again, it's about creating that local community. That's what I would say.
We also try to do a lot. They're not called field trips. I call them field trips. But we visited the city of Tampa's Emergency Operations Center. We visited and done a walkthrough at Busch Gardens, how they manage business continuity and emergency management. Things like that I find interesting because it's one thing for the 3 of us to all talk about our programs, but then you bring me on site and we walk through how your program works. It's very eye-opening, but then I always bring ideas back either for my program or for my clients. Oh, here's a different way, or here's an interesting way to do something that I hadn't thought of. And for me, that is one of the bigger strengths of the field trips. You can't get that through Zoom at a conference. We're all in a lecture type setting. I guess I learn a lot from being on site somewhere. Like, here's my EOC, here's my BC program in action.
James, I think that's a great point, because when I was president of the San Antonio chapter, we did a lot of our meetings where we floated around the community and got that touchy-feely, if you will. But the other thing coming out of COVID, we've had to have hybrid in order to keep our members engaged. So one of the things I think we can offer now is you can meet in person, and you can be a member of a totally different chapter and attend another chapter's meeting if you have an interest in whatever the program is. So another benefit. So
that's interesting, because a lot of times when you join a quote unquote chapter, you're restricted to that one city or neighborhood or whatever.
Used to be.
So if somebody wants to join ACP, the Tampa Bay chapter, they actually have a path to all the other chapters and their meetings as well.
All right. So I live in South Dakota. We don't have a chapter there, at least not right now. And so I have a national level membership, but that is still a gateway to every single chapter's program. So I think that's another value add, if you will, to our membership.
Well, definitely. I just had a thought. It just went right out of my head. I was just going to say something. I'll remember probably when you walk away.
Yeah, like, well, you've been at DRJ too long.
So in Florida, there's an Orlando chapter. They're always inviting us to things. The Tampa chapter is always inviting the Orlando chapter. So it's not. I think they've done a good job. Where a lot of organizations I've seen in our industry trip up is they become too exclusive or kind of gatekeeping, and ACP. It is a national organization, but a lot is driven at the chapter level. And it's like, what do the people in our community need? And that's something you can't get in other organizations.
Yeah, the other thing that's exciting is on our radar right now are one potential chapter in Australia and in London. And we were just having a conversation with the BCI folks about what that partnership might look like. So our brand is ACP International, and historically we've had a couple of chapters outside of the US. Now we're going to put the gas pedal down and figure that out, as well as growing within the US.
Well, I remember one time, and I'm going back over a decade, there was talk of potentially one in Toronto.
Yes, that's true.
Partnering with they changed their name. Disaster Recovery, Information Exchange, and now they're just RIA, I think.
RIA,
I know they changed the name, and I've forgotten exactly what it is. But partnering with them so that they became ACP, and then growing in Canada. But and
I think that's really important for our industry. Historically, business continuity and resilience programs are underfunded by their organizations. So then we who support those people, we have to work together. You have to partner with DRJ. You need to be speaking to BCI. You need, we all aren't going to make it on our own, but collectively we can grow. We can strengthen the profession.
Yeah, and James, when we looked at why our members left coming out of COVID, it was about people who actually lost their job as a result of COVID. Or they lost the funding from their employer, and they just said, "I can't afford," even though it's now $125 to be a national member, but it's like I don't have the money to do that, and we're just getting our legs back underneath us again.
Well, when my second job in our industry, my first day, my boss said, "Why don't you have all of your certifications?" And I said, "Because they're very expensive. And my previous employer did not pay for them." And for me, I got my DRI certification between the training course and the exam and a week off of work, and a week somewhere else. It was $5,000 all in. I wasn't in the position in my career to be like, "Oh, let me take out my wallet and pay for that." So my employer then paid for it. But ACP, I could pay for.
Yeah.
Like you said, $125 different than 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
So that's important.
So what can we expect from ACP in the future, considering you are looking at, I think you mentioned potentially international growth now?
Yeah.
What other kind of things are you
Well,
looking
I
at?
think there's a recognition that, historically we've been in the vertical of just business continuity professionals. We recognize that move to operational risk, operational resilience. How do we evolve into that? So within our national leader group, we're talking about maybe we need to rebrand, maybe we need to rethink who we are for the next 40 years of ACP. So actually, this conversation started at DRJ Spring this past year and is now, it's pretty active. So I think you're going to see a stronger marketing face from us, as well as you're going to see our footprint grow. I'm
Wonderful.
pretty sure.
Excellent.
Now, what if somebody listening or watching out there says, hey, ACP, that sounds interesting to me. How do they reach you? How do they get in touch with ACP?
Just all you have to do is go to acp-international.com. On there is staff at acp-international.com. Send an email to that address. The staff at our headquarters will take care of it. There's also a button to say, basically why join. And if you want to join on the spot, you can do that. And again, anybody that joins during this week of DRJ will be a candidate for a free DRJ 2024 pass that
Nice.
Bob has offered up.
Oh, nice.
And last spring, we had 7 people join, so a 1 in 7 chance. Well, that's not
Very
too bad.
nice.
That's pretty
Those are
good.
good odds.
Yeah,
Those
that's
are
not
good
bad.
odds.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
considering the comment about budgets and things like that,
Yeah,
hey, take that chance. Why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's well worth 125.
$125 to be a
for,
national member, and then each local chapter has the discretion to charge what they think is appropriate. And it varies anywhere from $25 to $50 on top of the 125. So
yeah, that's great.
I still was a bargain. I mean, if you think about other associations, right, you could be spending $250 to $500. So we think we're a bargain.
Yeah. I know a few that are much more expensive than that.
Exactly. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, thanks for stopping by and talking about ACP.
Thank
I really
you for having me.
appreciate
It's been a pleasure.
We finally got you on
Oh yeah,
to talk
Yeah.
about
I'll
it.
do it again if you want me to.
Of course.
Thank you very much, you guys.
Appreciate
Thanks so
it,
much.
yeah.
Enjoy the rest of DRJ
I will.
and all the best with the future growth with ACP.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I hope to see you in Toronto.
All right. Take care.
Take care. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
If you liked that video, thumbs up. If you didn't like that video, thumbs down. But leave me a message and let me know your thoughts. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. And in the meantime, stay prepared, everybody.